JJ the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. I've got a number of questions about what happens if I take out an EIDL, or should I, or could I, or oh, I think I did take out an EIDL. So the EIDL is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Okay, you get it at the SBA.gov. If you're getting a PPP, you don't want to get this. I'll tell you why in a second. But the PPP you get through the bank, period. You don't get it at SBA.gov, period. Okay. Now, the SBA.gov, okay, they oversee it, okay, but there's lots of loans. So if you go to the SBA.gov, you'll see that they're already talking about the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, and they're giving some information. But here's the thing. So if you're getting a PPP, okay, you can get loans, right? You could go get a line of credit, because line of credit doesn't have anything to do with how much of funds you get from a PPP. And, really any other kind of loan. I mean, you can go get it if you are getting it. But I'm going to read here because I've got the official, okay? So if I accept PPP, can I still take out an additional loan? Yes, with one exception. Borrowers who accept this payroll loan, the PPP, may still seek additional funding as needed. The usual SBA requirement that the borrower be ineligible to obtain credit elsewhere is waived for this loan program. So what that's just saying is for the PPP, okay, SBA requires you to have credit, right? This PPP does not. So that's what that's saying. But see, there's been confusion. It's almost like people are reading it completely the opposite. It's like, well, but SBA requires that the borrower, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, okay, let's continue on though, okay? So you get a PPP, you're gonna take a PPP, and you wanna get additional funding. So here's the exception. You can go get additional funding. One exception pertains to the EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loans, for the same purpose. Anyone seeking funds under the Payroll Loan Program, PPP, must certify that the entity applying has not already received an economic injury disaster loan for the same purpose, i.e. payroll. If an economic injury disaster loan was used for payroll, that loan could be refinanced under the PPP. Now, when you're getting a EIDL, okay, basically, if you're claiming, here's my circumstances, so I need this money so I can make payroll, then you got your money, okay? And you're going to have to pay it back, and it's not forgivable. What this is indicating, though, is that if you ran out and got an EIDL, and then you're like, man, I should have got the PPP, you can refinance that EIDL. How? Whatever bank you're going to, they will need to do that with and for you. I think that whenever you go, you just want to get your money on the PPP, and the bank will have to walk you through. Now, if the bank's indicating that you're going to have to sit around and wait for your money from the PPP until either they figure out how to refinance the COVID-19, EIDL, if they indicate that we'll have to wait for guidance to know how to refinance this. This is just going to be my gut, okay? Get the money, okay? Get your money from the PPL, okay? Do not delay, okay? Unless they're just like, hey, we'll get it figured out this afternoon or tomorrow morning. You need the money for the PPP. Get it, okay? There's still a process to this. So see my next video. There's still a process to this after you spend the money, and the process is how much of it is forgiven. And if it's not, it becomes a loan. And in my opinion, that is when you would go, well, hey, I've got this EIDL, otherwise known as the COVID-19 disaster relief loan. And now I got to pay back some of this PPP. because I didn't use all of it within the covered period with unqualified expenses. So I want to go ahead and refinance these together. That would be my thought process after 27 years of dealing with everything under the sun related to working with small businesses and banks and SBA and all that good stuff. That's when I believe you would be worrying about refinancing it into it. However, when you're getting the PPP, you will need to reduce down how much you're getting, okay, for the amount of money you got on the EIDL, because it's for the same purpose. Now, if you got an EIDL and you don't have payroll, well, then you're not getting a PPP, because to get a PPP, you have to have payroll, okay, or be self-employed. So if you got the, EIDL for other purposes, not payroll, okay, then you don't have an offset. All right. So what it comes down to is that you're not going to be able to get $2 to take care of a $1 expense in your business. So you can't get money from the EIDL for payroll, get money from the PPP for payroll, and then sit down there with $2 and you only have $1 of payroll. Because remember, all this is supposed to help immediately. It's not meant to be money that you're putting in reserves. It's money that you need now. And what you need is payroll. So here you go. So at the end of the day, when you're getting the PPP, you can get other funding, any other kind of funding. The only exception is the EIDL. And if you got the EIDL for payroll, you need to reduce down the amount you're going to get on the PPP by the amount that you got on the EIDL. And if you want to refinance the EIDL into, then you will need to do that, okay? But you're still going to owe that EIDL, okay? No two ways about it. You don't get to refinance it and then it becomes a forgivable loan, okay? So when I've had clients, they're like, well, hey, why don't I just get both? I'm like, well, you can, but if you qualify for $75,000 of a PPP and you got $10,000 EIDL, okay, well, you're only going to get $65,000 on the PPP, period, the end. And then if later you go, you know what, I want to go ahead and refinance this, okay? Well, if you got 65 grand from the PPP, okay, you could have got 75 grand, but the only reason you're getting 65 grand is that you got a $10,000 EIDL. Follow? So you got 65,000 on the PPP, okay? And you only were able to come up with 50,000 of qualified expenses in the covered period of 8 weeks. So you were eligible for 75. You only got 65 because you had a $10,000 EIDL, otherwise known as a COVID-19 disaster relief loan, right? So that's why you only got 65,000. Now, of that 65,000, only 50,000 was for qualified expenses in that period of 8 weeks. So you have 15,000 now that you owe, okay? You owe it. At that time, again, this is still my hunch of the timing, but at that time, it's like, well, I got 15 grand on the PPP. I owe 10 over here on the EIDL. I'm just going to go ahead and refinance and just do one loan. So not for a second is this EIDL somehow going to get recharacterized into a PPP. Not for a second is the EIDL going to somehow get converted and become forgivable, okay? So EIDL reduces down what you get for PPP. That's why I'm telling people, don't get it. Go get some other kind of loan. So hopefully that helps. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hashtag JJ the CPA is where you can find me on any social media. Hey, right back here, look at, that's the cover of my book, JJ the CPA here. I don't plug it very often, but you can go to Amazon.com. I've got it for $12.33, about near half of what I normally sell it. And basically the book is the top 60 questions of my clients over the last 27 years. And only a fourth of them have anything to do with tax. I talk about banking and business, startup, and insurance, and why do you have insurance, and what's the banker's goal, and what's that one thing that the banker is really going to look at, what's that one thing. So anyways, you can check it out. I would take a subscribe And then if you buy a book, it'd be the cherry on top. All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in. And then don't you ever forget, you've never met a sole proprietor, self-employed, business owner, employer, bad to the bone person such as yourself. Never met anybody quite like you, and you've never met a CPA quite like me.